Aloha mai kako, and welcome to the Fall 2023 edition of UHMTV, a TV magazine show written, hosted, and produced by students at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. I'm Erin Fujitani.
And I'm Case Horn. Mahalo for joining us from their College of Social Sciences Digital Studios.
We'd like to dedicate this special edition of UHMTV to the survivors of the Maui wildfires. We extend our support with each story in this episode, and we're wearing pink, the official color of the island of Maui.
Coming up in this episode,
learn about plans for restoration in Lahaina
and heartwarming community support for Lahaina victims and survivors.
Stay tuned for all this and more on UHMTV. UH Maui College was among the first of the 10 campuses to show support immediately in the aftermath of the wildfires. Just days after the fires, dozens of students, staff, and alumni volunteers from the Maui Culinary Program turned out to prep and serve thousands of meals to evacuees from the school cafeteria.
UH researchers have also helped in testing drinking water and ocean water off Lahaina for toxins, while the UH School of Architecture continues to collaborate to find the best design plans for Lahaina moving forward.
Coming up next is a story about historic Lahaina town and its deep roots in Hawaiian culture.
Hear about Manoa's School of Architecture and their plans to rebuild Lahaina's historic buildings. This is what Lahaina looked like just before the fires, when Maui was booming with tourism. Today, the historic town has lost many of its original buildings that date back to the early 1800s, including the Waiala Church, where some of the early monarchy were buried, and Maui's oldest home, the Baldwin House. The UH School of Architecture is now working with the Lahaina Restoration Foundation and others to help rebuild some of these landmarks, using detailed drawings by students in the 1960s and 70s.
You often only have one chance to preserve an older building. And you may think it's not that important, but as time goes on, they become more and more important. We now have a kind of working group of about 15 people that have an interest in historic preservation, but that represents a much larger group. There's a constituency for old-time buildings. There's a constituency for providing better housing. There's a constituency for the commercial development of Lahaina. So there are many different communities that are part of this process, right?
In 1962, the National Park Service designated Lahaina a National Historic Landmark because of its cultural history as the first capital of the Hawaiian Kingdom.
Lahaina wasn't significant because of the fire. I think Lahaina always had its beauty. Looking forward, I don't see tourists and I don't see people coming back to visit for a vacation. I see the rebuilding of the churches of Lahaina. I see the rebuilding of the Punana Leo o Lahaina.
Hawaii's historical landmarks like Honolulu State Capitol are not only culturally significant but play a key role in Hawaii's top source of income, tourism.
85% of the economy of Maui is tourism. So that's an important component in that tourism.
While tourism is a significant concern, restoration efforts are also prioritizing the authenticity of Hawaiian history in these landmarks.
We tend to really embrace the idea of something authentic, something that really reaches back into the past.
UH architects are already working with Maui College on possible prototypes to visualize a better future for Lahaina.
We hope that out of this experience, something positive could emerge. Maybe a better regulated Lahaina, maybe one that does speak more to history, one that speaks more to the pre-contact history or prehistory of West Maui and tells that story for people to better understand it.
For UHMTV, I'm Erin Fujitani.
Some of the residents most affected by the Maui wildfires were students and teachers. Along with several schools shutting down, students were forced to commute elsewhere for education.
Our CJ Pakela spoke to a professional in the College of Education who tells us about the importance of in-person learning. Let's take a look.
When the Maui wildfires hit Lahaina, more than 2,200 structures were damaged or destroyed, including schools. King Kamehameha III Elementary was destroyed. while multiple other schools had to close for post-fire cleaning. Students from the specific elementary school shared a space with Princess Nahiena'ena Elementary, and other closed schools also transported students to schools that were still open. Not only did the closure of schools in Lahaina affect students' ability to learn in person, but it also caused setbacks socially.
Due to several school closures, students can face setbacks such as not being able to properly work with others or engage in schoolwork.
3 of 4 schools in the Lahaina School District have been closed since the wildfires.
School can be an outlet for some students to escape home life, and without it, they may not feel safe or accepted as themselves.
To help schools in Maui, you can make statewide donations by contacting the Community Engagement Branch at 808-305-0690 or donating to charities such as Global Giving or the Hawaii Food Bank. For UHMTV, I'm CJ Pakela.
The Maui fires not only evacuated students and educators, but affected some of our furry, four-legged friends.
Hundreds of these animals were reported missing in the aftermath of the blaze, with volunteers teaming up with Maui Humane Society to help locate the missing pets. Noah Clay has the story.
The Maui Humane Society has a mission of protecting and saving Maui's animals from disasters like the Lahaina fires. The Humane Society took in more than 180 animals from Lahaina and worked to reunite them with their families. The organization also works to educate the community and to find fosters and volunteers for animals in need.
We have the same amount of dogs, cats, other species coming in. We have to figure out how to control the flow of the bottleneck once they're in, because they're not getting out as fast.
Even outside the tragedy of Lahaina, the Maui Humane Society works tirelessly to help shelter and house hundreds of animals. We've taken a look at what the Humane Society does for us. Now let's see what we can do for the Humane Society. Though the fires have abated, the Humane Society is still extremely over capacity. The fires contributed to overflow, but the organization is enveloped in a larger nationwide surplus of sheltered animals.
You can sign up to be a foster. And you can just do that on our website at mauihumanesociety.org, and then ways to get involved.
When it comes to caring for these animals, as with the fires, it takes a village. See what you can do to chip in at mauihumanesociety.org. For UHMTV, I'm Noah Clay.
When we come back,
Dive into the psychological aftermath of the wildfires. Stay with us on UHMTV.
while we recognize the physical damage and the efforts to rebuild everything victims lost, it's critical to acknowledge the invisible struggles that many people are battling.
Gabby Cervantes addresses how the psychological toll of such a traumatic event is often underestimated.
In the aftermath of the devastating Maui wildfires, the physical toll on the affected communities is unmistakable, with homes and landscapes forever lost. However, as the embers settle and the smoke clears, it becomes increasingly apparent that another critical aspect demands urgent attention: the mental well-being of the wildfire victims.
If we think about it as an integrated problem, that if something as big as a natural disaster takes away all these resources, that it's also going to impact all these different layers of how people need to survive.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for sharing your knowledge. In this case, I had the opportunity to talk to a UH student who's also a victim and would like to stay anonymous. Let's see what she has to say.
For me, after the fire, it was harder for me to adapt back to school. So I actually started working with the counseling center. So every week I meet with them and talk about my experience, and it's just harder to adapt. So I had to find different ways to cope with the situation.
UH is providing resources for the fire victims. There's the Kokua program, the Office for Students with Disabilities, as well as the Counseling and Student Development Center, which offers support to UH Manoa students to assist with mental health, personal, or academic concerns. This is Gabriela Cervantes for UHMTV.
As we address the physical and mental aspects of the devastation, let's talk about the economic recovery of Maui.
Shelby Matos reports on those working to aid and recover Maui's local economy.
As West Maui is recovering from the August wildfires, Senator DeCoit is working alongside the Energy, Economic Development, and Tourism Committee, the state and county to build an economic recovery commission.
Do we really want tourism here? Let the community tell you what they want and those that represent the area of Lahaina. We should at no time be the ones coming from outside in telling, but trying to see what resources and support services we can put for them.
And Maui residents are encouraged to share what they want to see for Maui's economic recovery.
If they can sit on the commission and can contribute to what they want to see, after they come up with what they want for their community, then our committee will step in.
While some are working in the legislature to help the recovery efforts in Maui, others are in the community lending a hand.
You know, right now, in terms of nonprofits and small businesses, you know, nonprofits are in emergency mode, so they're not even thinking about anything else. And small businesses were all but wiped out on the west side.
With over 20 years of digital marketing experience, Miller is using his skills to help others for free.
And so a lot of the stuff I've been doing is just volunteering in the community as much as I possibly can, whether that's with the Red Cross or down at some of the beach parks.
Miller joined the Red Cross to continue volunteering and is trying to help his neighbor find more work by hiring them to record what organizations are doing to help West Maui. For UHMTV, I'm Shelby Matos.
After the break, let's highlight a UH student who volunteers her time in support of Maui.
And we'll shift our perspective from supporters to the supported. Don't go away. Aloha, and welcome back to the UHMTV show. The distribution sites for victims of the Maui fires largely depend on volunteer work to keep things moving smoothly.
Let's meet a volunteer who was also affected by the fires. Our very own Hi'ilave Neves sat down in studio with one of these helpers to talk about their experience working with the aftermath.
Aloha mai kākou. My name is Hi'ilave Neves, and typically during our UHMTV show, we like to feature UH alumni to see how UH has shaped their lives. But on this special edition, we want to switch our focus to our current students who are doing outstanding work while balancing their busy college schedules. Ofena Helutu Filikitonga and Marcus Go are students in the UH Manoa School of Cinematic Arts. And once they heard about the Maui wildfires, they did not hesitate to step up and help. It is an honor to have both of you in studio with me today, so thank you so much for joining me on UHMTV.
Thanks for having us.
So Ofena, you're actually from Lahaina. Could you tell me a little bit about what it was like to volunteer for your own community?
Seeing my hometown is definitely not an easy sight, for sure. But going to the community hubs and volunteering with other community members and just trying our best to help one another out is definitely heartwarming. It's unlike anything I've ever felt before.
And Marcus, you're an international student from Singapore. So what drove you to want to start volunteering?
Me being an international student here in Hawaii, I've received so much love and so much support from the community here. I think it's only right that I give back. I don't think that it's something that doesn't impact me because I am on this land, I am taking up space. So it is only right to give back. The desire to help, came naturally. It's like, what can I do as a person? What can I do as a filmmaker to help this community that's in need right now? And then from there, Ofena and I, we took it a step further and we decided to do something about the fire, and that was to create a documentary.
We are doing a short film documentary that kind of involves a portrait story of a family that we are highlighting, a family that is born and raised in Lahaina. This is a very special project to me, so I hope that I do my hometown justice in this film.
So what are you guys both hoping is going to come out of this project?
My goal with this film is to get international support. I don't believe that Hawaii should help Hawaii. Yes, community support is important, but it doesn't make sense that the support is coming from within. I think outside help is needed to be able to see some real impact
What do you want to tell the viewers at home who are watching, and any message that you have for them?
To anybody who's watching this, I would say love the people around you, love your family. Be grateful for the home that you have, because you never know. Overall, just be grateful, be loving, give aloha. Please don't withhold any of that.
I just want to say thank you so much. A big mahalo to both of you for joining me. This means so much for you guys to come on here and talk about something, this sensitive, this special, this amazing work that you guys are doing. Thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you all for watching UHMTV. Once again, I'm Hi'ilave Neves. Aloha.
The tragedies associated with the Maui fires brought out the best in a lot of people who were eager to help. But some efforts may not have been well received.
Let's explore the challenges and good intentions from the receiver's point of view. Dr. Amy Ebesu Hubbard has the story.
No, that's okay.
No, thank you. We've heard this in our homes and even on the streets. The gentle and not so gentle declines to offers of support and assistance. Help offered doesn't necessarily mean help accepted.
I spoke to Dr. Emiko Taniguchi-Dorios, a professor in communicology. As someone who studies communicating support to others, she says there's multiple factors at work here.
I think we all have this desire to look good or don't want to look weak or incompetent, and receiving help can signify or can inadvertently show that I am not managing my situation well.
There may be feelings of embarrassment, shame, and guilt. When Malika Dudley needed to evacuate her home on Maui, she shares her misgivings about receiving assistance, even from a very good friend.
It felt difficult to decide to burden someone.
People may also reject assistance if there is a mismatch between what they need and what is being provided, and how difficult it is to access those resources. Government agencies and other organizations could work toward making the process simple and easy. Dr. Taniguchi-Dorios suggests that we talk story and communicate our sincerity and earnest desire to be useful and helpful.
If you could share some kind of similar experience, may not be the fire, but some kind of things that happened to you that was very difficult, but something was helpful to you. By sharing that, the other person might feel that, oh, you went through this, you understand me. So that could actually remove the barrier.
Talking about these things, even declining kind offers of support and assistance, can be exhausting.
So many people have it so much worse off than you, but you can't help people if you're not helping yourself. And if you're not taking care of your own things.
So ultimately, what we need to be doing is giving support and accepting support from others, not only for today, but for tomorrow, the day after, and so on. I'm Amy Ebesu Hubbard, reporting for UHMTV.
When we come back, we'll visit the UH Maui Culinary School.
And see how Kalihi Union Church is showing their support.
Plus, local vets are helping Maui's furry friends. More on this when we come back.
There is a critical moment in time when an idea or spark becomes a catalyst for inspiration and change. These moments happen every day at the College of Social Sciences. We've partnered with local high schools statewide. On the road to college access, we've established pathways with UH community colleges, like the Economics Bridge program, and mentored field research. They are being prepared for careers that are extraordinary and fulfilling. Our faculty researchers generate innovative solutions for critical issues central to Hawaii and beyond, understanding the human brain and exploring environmental concerns such as global impacts of polar warming. Our graduates are finding meaningful jobs, empowering science into social action. As the year comes to a close, our Ohana at the College of Social Sciences takes pride in looking back on all that we've accomplished and look forward to even more in the year to come. Wishing you and yours the warmest of holidays.
In the wake of Maui's tragedies, a remarkable story of community spirit is unfolding.
Jack Vetter tells us how Chef Hui and culinary students are cooking up some food for the soul.
a series of wildfires broke out across the island of Maui. This prompted an upbringing of community support from across the world to help support Maui in its time of tragedy.
I think as soon as Mark and I found out about what was happening with the fires, we immediately connected with a very good friend of ours, Chef Sheldon Simeon, and he's originally from Hilo, but has established their family and their restaurants on Maui. His wife is actually from Lahaina, and so we just chatted with Sheldon, and he was already down at the culinary college cooking, and we said, how can we best be of service?
After stationing at the University of Maui Culinary Facility, this combination of local chefs, volunteers, and culinary students were able to produce over 10,000 meals per day that was distributed across the Maui community.
Our goal as Chef Hui is always to move as quickly as possible from emergency feeding at that large scale to then leaning into our restaurants to cook closer to the communities that are in need so that our restaurants can actually keep their own staff employed and that we can purchase meals from them to go out free of charge to the community.
Not only does Chef Hui provide immediate relief, but it also provides long-term sustainability by funding local restaurants and vendors to continue working.
So we're working with restaurants who support local farmers. Those farmers then are able to keep farming and growing local food. The chefs are able to keep their employees employed, and we're able to get those meals free of charge to communities that are in need.
If you want to support Chef Hui and their work in Maui, you can visit their website at chefhui.com. For UHMTV, I'm Jack Vetter.
Here on Oahu, another community organization is showing their support for Maui residents.
Kalihi Union Church is raising funds by selling t-shirts. Janessa Chun has the story.
Since the Maui wildfire crisis, many people have been seeking ways to directly aid those in Maui. Kalihi Union Church is just one of the many organizations that has found a way to directly aid Maui wildfire victims. Let's find out more.
Whenever there's a crisis, we're always looking at what's our part. First of all, how can we encourage those that are on the ground to do their job? Because in reality, in a crisis, you can't do anything from a distance. It's the people who are there, who are able to respond, provide housing, care for the trauma, bring people into their homes. So we automatically have a network of churches, not only our own denomination, but others.
Pastor Jonathan also talked about how the church provided in financial ways for those in need.
So then it was, okay, what is needed? So you ask the people on the ground, what is needed? And in this case, they were feeding families and housing about 300 families. So we came alongside, we raised money. Some of our people wanted to do creative things like make t-shirts and sell them.
I reached out to the person behind these shirts to find out more.
We had actually thought of an idea that we can make fundraiser shirts. And so I approached the company where we buy our shirts from. Step two, my husband is a great graphic designer, so he designed the shirt really quickly. And that's when we approached Pastor Jonathan and we said, hey, can we do this? We raised quite a bit of money that we wouldn't ever have been able to raise on our own.
For UHMTV, I'm Janessa Chan.
Humans aren't the only victims of the Maui wildfires. Thousands of animals were displaced or injured during the natural disaster.
Lily Hurd tells us about what is being done in support of these animals and the stories of veterinarians.
Many homes were destroyed and thousands of people along with their pets were displaced.
I don't think any of us were truly prepared for this. I don't know how you could be.
Maui Humane Society quickly rushed into action to rescue animals in need. They worked tirelessly 7 days a week where numerous animals with a diverse range of injuries were brought in.
The major thing that we treated them with first was for pain, because burns are painful and a lot of them came to us painful.
As of November 6, an estimate of 825 animals were taken by the Maui Humane Society. 447 were found as strays, 26 succumbed to their injuries, and 151 were reunited with their families.
Many countless pets are far away from their native homes. Pet shelters like Hawaiian Humane Society implores the public to show compassion and take meaningful action.
I always remind people, again, they didn't ask to be here, they were just brought here. It's not their fault. So I think just keeping that in mind.
For more information on how to donate, visit mauihumanesociety.org. For UHMTV, this is Lily Hurd.
Thank you for joining us on our 34th episode of UHMTV.
This special edition is dedicated to the survivors and those who support the victims of the Maui fires. Mahalo for watching. I'm Erin Fujitani.
And I'm Case Horn. For more information, please visit our YouTube channel.
Mahalo nui loa and
Aloha.